Today is supposed to be cabinet installation in the kitchen. They're running late and there's more drama to tell about the contractor situation.
I'm done with it. If anybody else was in this position, they would have moved on earlier.
Not too long ago, I started working on the playroom, TV room / second living room. I had to prep it for paint because after we threw one coat of paint a couple weeks back, the plaster that the contractors did started chipping off and not holding its place. So unfortunately, I had to go back over the work that we paid to have done. Total disaster. We even asked our GC to get Fidel back out to the house to repair the work he did, but that never happened. So after hours spent plastering, sanding, and prepping the walls, I started working on the moldings, scraping away paint drips, getting rid of chipping paint, and prepping the surface for wood filler and more plaster and caulk. If you remember, this room had a hidden wall that was crumbling to pieces, so really needed a lot of repair to make it nice again. I also went ahead and removed those silly crown moldings so we could replace them with something more substantial.
It looks more grey, but also
way more grey.
with the one coat, for sure, super grey.
But it is a dark gray. It's not black to me at all.
Well, in this light, yeah, but like
Well, over there?
over there, it looks black.
No, it doesn't to me.
It looks
I'm
more,
such a color weirdo though.
more black to me than this does.
I like the contrast a lot.
I love the color. I think the
Me
color is
too. I
awesome.
love it so
With
much.
the white, like the white cabinets.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, it's warm in there.
yeah.
It feels good.
Wait,
With the bucket of paint.
that just made it so much more mysterious.
So as you can tell with the wall behind me, it's gone through many variations of color. I have a mood board and a vision for it, but I'm just not vibing with the color and the way it flows with the rest of the house. And so I think I finally settled on a color and an idea. I'm gonna paint it sort of the same color as the kitchen cabinets and have this whole wall be a feature wall, and I'm gonna do a mural on it. And I was just really struggling with the color and how they blended with the black moldings, and I was also wanting the black moldings to kind of stay in just the living room.
What's it called again?
Palette.
Palette. Mama, some people like put it on their finger.
I know, you could do some finger paintings for him if you. I bought this big paper so that I could do some studies and a couple of different variations of what the mural is gonna be. I have some ideas. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go like super abstract or like block colors, or if I'm gonna do something kind of tropical and jungly and like botanical. I can't decide. So we'll see what direction we end up going here. So this wall has just been really, really bugging me. I've just really wanted to figure out how it's gonna look and the color it's gonna be. So I've set it up so that I can start painting to see the color on the wall. I'm also gonna paint it this color. You probably can't really tell too much. It's like slightly different, these two, the molding and the wall. Anyways, let's get to painting. Yesterday, I finished adding all the plaster to the walls and also the wood filler to the wood. So let it dry overnight, and today I'm sanding and watching A Star is Born all the way from over there, which is crazy. Azalea's back in school, so I have some time to work. All right, get to work, Jeeps. All right, so I sanded a second coat of plaster and I think it's good to go. Took down the moldings up top because it needs to be replaced. It's like not really supposed to be crown molding up there. So I'm gonna work on caulking all the trim pieces so that I can work on painting all the way to the edge of the moldings. Today is supposed to be cabinet installation in the kitchen. We'll see what happens with that. They're running late and there's more drama to tell about the contractor situation. If I hadn't already mentioned, he actually moved in across the street from us, basically. It's like the house one over from across the street. Lucky us, we get to see him all the time. I don't want to get too much into the details because we're trying to finish working with him. I will, in fact, fill you in on all the drama, but it has been incredibly inappropriate. Honestly, it just has felt like a total joke. Basically, Justin has now taken team lead as the GC. He's been organizing all the subcontractors to come here and do the work because in a nutshell, Dean has dropped the ball one too many times and is just not doing his job anymore. So we're making calls and telling his subcontractors to just invoice him for the money that is technically our money that he has to use to pay all the contractors. Anyways, so in a nutshell, that's a very, very light version of what's been happening. So hopefully they actually showed today. Dean sent us a text and apparently was like saying that they're gonna be 45 minutes late. So thanks, Dean, for the update. I'm gonna keep getting to work. I really wanna get this room feeling good and start working on that mural on this wall over here. Time to caulk. Where did my little thing go? Well, we are gonna freestyle without it. Time for that second coat. Second coat is just like a magical moment where it just covers all the blemishes. Okay, my blood is boiling and so I honestly just don't even care anymore and just want to share shenanigans that's going on. Lionel shows up to attach the cabinets to the wall. He's not prepared, doesn't have the right supplies and materials to do the job, which Dean in theory should provide him with all the materials so that he can actually like cut clean cuts and have screws to mount the cabinets to the wall. Dean shows up for like 3 seconds and then acts like he's too busy to even be here, runs off super fast, and Lionel and them do like 3 cabinets, line them up, cut 1 vent for the AC unit, and then they're like, we're gonna go have lunch. 30 minutes, we'll be back. I text Dean and say that the team left, they won't be able to do any more of their work because Lionel said that they wouldn't be able to do any more work than what they had already done without screws to be able to mount them onto the wall. So I text Dean and his response is too busy. Let me read it to you. This is what I said. Lionel mentioned they need hardware to mount it and also canvas for the floors because they didn't even bring anything to put the cabinets on while they're moving everything around to not scratch the floors. And they were like eyeballing my canvas from this room that I'm painting and they were like, we're gonna need to use those. I'm like, no, I'm using them and you come with your own gear to the job. So then I texted him and said, the guys have left to go have some lunch. They said they didn't have the screws yet, so couldn't do much more than what they had already done. They'll be about 30 minutes, they said, so if you could bring by the screws so they could finish the job today, that would be really helpful. Not mean or anything, just gentle, but also reminding, because basically I'm the supervisor. Sorry for my bad language. I'm just so, every time I see him, my blood just boils. He makes me so angry. His response, literally so brief, don't have time. I asked Lionel to pick them up. So frustrating.
He doesn't need to act like this. He's being absurd. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. I agree. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he's always so busy doing. I saw him this morning and he was standing outside and he was just chatting with our neighbor. I'm like, you could have been getting the screws instead of chatting with our neighbor.
I'm done with it. We'll figure out this process. We can move on with a different GC and get this finished. Like, neither of us deserve this. If anybody else was in this position, they would have moved on earlier. We were already patient enough. Like,
he didn't even organize to have the cabinets installed. You organized that because he wasn't doing that. He wasn't having the cabinets scheduled to be installed.
he just sent a text. He apparently texted them, pull up cabinets, job is stopped, effective immediately. Just lock the doors so nobody can get in.
Oh well, we'll find another contractor. We'll put feelers out and hopefully we can find someone that has a good heart. All right, love you. See you later.
Love you, bye.
Bye. been a long time coming that we've needed to just cut him from this job. He's slammed the door in my face and stormed out and like been incredibly rude and obnoxious and just condescending and inappropriate. He had said that his phone had been compromised and that there was a potential that our phone had been compromised. And he then got checked into like a psych ward. Initially when he disappeared, he was like, I gotta go, bye. Like I'm gonna be leaving. I don't know when I'll be back. And when he initially sent that text, we had no idea if he'd be gone for a week or a month. We had no idea what was happening with the projects. Everything was just up in arms, and turns out we found out that actually he'd been checked into a psych ward, and I guess they readjusted his meds. He was struggling to believe what was real, what wasn't real. So he's got some deeper issues. Justin took his sign out of the yard. We were also mowing the yard, so it just happened to be a good time to just pull his sign from the yard, and we set it aside because we were done advertising that we were working for him, because it wasn't a good mesh of business together. And he apparently blew up at Justin and was like, why'd you take my sign down? Like, that's not cool. I'm doing this job, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, well, I mean, technically you're not really doing the job. Like, this isn't the first time that we've had workers show up and they don't have the supplies and tools that they need to do the job, so they just leave. I can't believe that so many of you have had the same issues with contractors like us. It's just, there's only one other person in my life that has ever made me this angry, and it was because we got screwed over by them. And once you mess with me and screw me over in that way, there is no going back. I will never like you again, like for real. And I'm not interested in having you in my life. I look forward to cutting him out of my life. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to work. Here we are, no kitchen, and on the lookout for a GC. The biggest issue is that actually the bank won't allow us to have the money. So basically the way the loan works, which is where this is super awkward and problematic, the bank loan that we have requires us to have a GC that's both licensed and insured. They send our renovation money, the budget, to Dean or the contractor in like segments where we use whatever the distribution is for the projects that we're going to be doing. So like the roofing money, the kitchen money, the cabinet money, all that kind of stuff. Dean had a big chunk of money. He had like $30,000 that had just got wired to him when shit hit the fan. He bought himself like a new Jeep, and then he like acted all crazy and was like, it's a game. I'm like, what is a game? He's like, that's why I didn't get your text about the debris in the wall and why it didn't get cleaned up, because it's a game. And I'm like, I'm not playing a game. He's like, it's a game. Anyways, so basically we were trying to squeeze all of the money that he has out of him for materials and things like that, so that we could at least have materials here, so that we could just hire a GC to then just do the job. But unfortunately that's not going to work now, because Dean needs to send the money back to the lender, and the only way that we can continue on with this job is to find another GC to have the money sent to, for them to then complete the job. We can't have the money because we need to be licensed and insured. So now everybody has to calculate how much money we need to send back to the lenders, which is about $5,000. So it's not crazy now that we bought the cabinets, but within that $5,000 budget was supposed to be the tile for the full room, and it's just been exhausting to try and get the tile. The tile's a whole nother story that I won't bore you with, because I'm sure you're tired of seeing my face and hearing me rant. Anyways, paint. So I'm on the tail end of being done with this playroom space. I just have to sand a couple of pieces that I added more wood filler to for like a second round. I don't like to waste time, and so like I paint and then I'll come back and sand it. That way I know I've done 2 coats and can be productive while I'm waiting for the wood filler to dry. Yeah, I have to sand and paint those 2 areas on the window up top, and then I can take the paper up, which is always really, really exciting to feel the final finish of the room.
Okay, something a little more positive to leave you all inspired. Lately, I've had a kick for getting creative, crafty, and doing something other than working on the house, because we have been non-stop. So I pulled out my metalsmithing gear, along with all my studio supplies, and felt a rush of inspiration to create something. Azalea helped me set it up and was super curious about it all.
You want to sand it and then I'll cut this one?
Yeah.
Alright, get over here.
I got it.
I know. Nice. Controlled. There you go. Alright, come here to the hammer station.
That is a pretty funny hammer stick.
Where that one's still. How do you think jewelry making is? Do you like it?
Good. Mommy, I want to make a bracelet.
Hard to believe that she was a wee one when she used to come to my girlfriend's studio with me and sit in the wrap and keep me company while I made jewels to sell online and at markets. Now she's my little assistant. I'm thinking of making a few things to sell on the Moonflower Child website with some of the old materials I'd never gotten around to using. And on top of that, I've been super inspired to do something I should have done years ago, but had fear to take the dive. More on that at some point, but I thought I'd share that I'm designing a little collection of wares that I'm planning on having produced sustainably with natural materials, and I can't wait to share the process of what's to come. One last thing before I leave you. We recently noticed at dusk an army of bats that fly over the old people's home across the way. It's a magnificent sight, and I thought I'd share.